Tuesday night, Chris Hall here with you with UGA Football News on Facebook and Instagram. It's good to have you along with us for a little dog talk tonight. We have a stack of stuff we're going to talk about having to do with the University of Georgia football. My producer was saying, "Hey, the Braves, the Atlanta Braves, our favorite baseball team, playing the New York Metropolitans up in Atlanta." The Mets squeaked out a win over the Braves last night, and we're kind of competing with the Braves, but that's all right. See, you can multitask. You can watch the Braves on television, and then also, of course, you can watch us here at UGA Football News as we talk about the latest that's going on with the University of Georgia football team. So you can multitask. That's all right. And go get them Bravos. Who's on the mound for us tonight? Oh, Spencer Strider is on the mound for the Braves. So go get him, Spencer. The dude he's a stud. He can bring it at well over 100 miles an hour at times. So interesting. So go Braves. All right. Good to have you along with us here as we jump in. We just have a few things we want to share with you tonight. Also, we're going to share with you a clip from what is it? Oh, okay, I got you from SEC Shorts. We love SEC Shorts. The bunch out of Birmingham produces videos that kind of reflect Southeastern Conference football. These guys are great. They have some hilarious things that they put out, and they put out I think it was today, they put out a video about the possible teams coming into the SEC, you know, potential teams that may join Oklahoma and Texas in coming into the SEC. And it's a hilarious thing. And we'll be sharing that with you a little later on in the program. Good to have Trip Block with us and Mikey Wilbanks as well. Indeed. Go Dogs, indeed. All right, let's get into what we have tonight. Well, recruiting is going on right now, kind of hot and heavy all across the country. And here's the latest news we have on UGA football recruiting. Kirby Smart and Georgia have landed their fifth verbal pledge of the month of July. It's been a pretty good month of July as far as recruiting is concerned for Georgia. And this time, Georgia got a commitment from a 2025 commitment, running back Jabri Wallace Coleman. That's right. He's in the class of 2025, which means what? That he is a rising sophomore. Is that right? Is that right? Rising sophomore, and he's out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and so he's 6 foot, 205 pounds. Pretty good running back. Apparently, he had a great freshman year. I think he went to one of the days they have at the University of Georgia to for prospects and that kind of thing. And so Georgia turned around and offered to him again Jabri Wallace Coleman from the class of 2025, a running back, highly touted running back. I don't think he's got the star thing yet, but he's a rising sophomore in high school. So congratulations to Jabri Wallace Coleman from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He made a commitment to the University of Georgia. That's the first commitment in the 2025 class. Also, you might have heard about this. On Sunday, Georgia landed a major commitment from down in Tallahassee, Florida, Tallahassee Lincoln High School. Raylan Wilson announced his decision to play for the University of Georgia. Wilson chose Georgia over Michigan. Now, that was a program that he had committed to. He made a verbal pledge to Michigan back sometime, I think back, maybe in March or something like that. Then he decommitted on June 28th. Raylan Wilson, highly, highly touted linebacker, had offers from Michigan, Florida, and 32 other major college offers. He's 6'2", 213 pounds. Took his official visit to Georgia on June the 3rd, and now he has made a commitment to the University of Georgia, and he's in the 2023 class. So go get them. Georgia continues to pile up the recruits. And so two recruits coming into the University of Georgia. Um, let's see. Mikey Wilbanks wants to know how we're doing on the recruiting. Um, it's right now Georgia's. We'll talk about where they stand. In fact, according to 247sports.com, Georgia has the eighth rated recruiting class for 2023. Now that's going to change. Georgia's going to get some other recruits. We'll talk about a couple that may be in the queue now for the University of Georgia. But they have the eighth rated class at the moment, according to 247sports.com. Ohio State has the number one rated class at the moment. Notre Dame, number two, followed by Clemson, Texas, Tennessee, Penn State, LSU, and then Georgia, followed by Arkansas and Miami. Now, missing out of the top 10 for the 2023 rankings, of course, is the University of Alabama, but that's going to change because Alabama has picked up in the last day or two some pretty good commitments for the 2023 class. So, Alabama's going to be up there. But right now, Ohio State's number one, Notre Dame, Clemson, Texas, Tennessee, Penn State, LSU, Georgia, Arkansas, and Miami. Now, you may have some flips. You're going to have some flips. You're going to have some decommits. So it's just the thing. It's the way it is. And it is kind of a ways off until actually you get these guys to sign to make a commitment to play for the University of Georgia. But they have made some commitments. So Georgia has had a pretty good week this week as far as recruiting is concerned. Bryce Dixon, how you doing? What's up, my man? It's good to hear from you. And Michael Smith, way to go, Dogs. There you go. It's kind of interesting. I saw this study coming out, or this report coming out. It says the class of 2024 in the University of in the state of Georgia, rather, is arguably the deepest and most talent-rich slate ever to come out of Georgia. And arguably, the class of 2024 may be the best, as far as a state is concerned, the best, recruiting class, I guess, for a state ever. 41 players from the state of Georgia are now ranked in the latest top 300 in the latest ESPN rankings for the class of 2024. That's just shy of 14% of the nation's best players residing in the state of Georgia. 16 of those players are ranked now inside the top 100. So the class of 2024 in the state of Georgia looking pretty good. Pretty good high school football being played in the state of Georgia, and some really good players, obviously, playing in these high schools. So Georgia is talent rich. Yeah, there's always this argument about what state produces the best and the most high school players that go on to play in college football. And you have Ohio, you have Florida, you have Georgia, you have Texas, you have California, and those are kind of all even there. Usually you have more signed out of Texas than anywhere else, but that's just because it's a huge state. But apparently the class of 2024 out of the state of Georgia is pretty talent rich. And the headline for that particular story was that Georgia can have the number one signing class in 2024 without signing anybody outside of the state of Georgia. Well, obviously Georgia is not going to get all of those guys who are highly rated in that particular class. Some will go to other schools, obviously, but pretty talent rich in the state of Georgia for 2024. Now, there are three players in the queue for the University of Georgia that Georgia is really looking at, hoping that they're going to make a commitment to the University of Georgia. We talk about recruiting this time of the year because there's not much else going on, to be honest with you. The SEC Media Days are about to take place up in Atlanta. And so, that's one thing. You'll get some news out of that. But other than that, you kind of look at recruiting this time of the year. That seems to be the thing that is most in the headlines when it comes to college football and for the University of Georgia as well. But three players that are in the queue that hopefully will come to the University of Georgia. One is linebacker Troy Bowles. He's a 2023 inside linebacker. He happens to be the son of the current Tampa Bay Buccaneers head coach Todd Bowles. And Troy Bowles is the number 2 linebacker in the 2023 class, according to 247sports.com. The 247 Sports has Troy Bowles rated as a 4-star prospect. He's from Jesuit High School down in Tampa Bay. He's announced his top 3 schools as being Georgia, Ohio State, and Oklahoma. And he is expected to make his decision on July the 16th. So that's Troy Bowles, the son of current Tampa Bay Buccaneers head coach Todd Bowles. That's interesting. Also, in the prospect that Georgia is really looking at is a defensive tackle, Jamal Jarrett. He is a 4-star defensive tackle out of Greensboro, North Carolina. And according to 247 Sports rankings, he's as big as they come in the 2023 class. Jamal Jarrett is 6'6", 355 pounds. He's a defensive tackle. He's 17 years of age, 6'6", 355 pounds. In other words, he's I guess very comparable in size to Jordan Davis, of course, the great University of Georgia defensive lineman. Jared has really drawn a lot of attention from the Georgia fan base. They see the second coming of Jordan Davis, I guess, in Jamal Jarrett. Jarrett will choose between Auburn, Georgia, and North Carolina on July the 16th. So you got 2 on July the 16th, which is what, Saturday? Isn't that Saturday, I believe? So you have 2 guys that Georgia really is targeting that will make their official announcements, their commitments on July the 16th. And Georgia's in the mix for both of these. Now, it would be fantastical which that's a word I've just made up, but it would be great if Georgia could get both of those guys, Troy Bowles and Jamal Jarrett. That would be just really great. But that's coming up July 16th. They both will make their commitments, and I guess it probably will be on maybe ESPN, ESPNU, or something like that. So we'll be keeping our eye on that. Another player that Georgia is in the mix for, who will be deciding soon as to where he will go to college, is a defensive back, Jonel Aguero. Jonel Aguero, he's a 4-star safety, formerly of IMG Academy, now of St. John's Prep in Lynn, Massachusetts. He is the number 3 ranked safety in the 2023 recruiting class, 43rd overall nationally, according to 247sports.com. He's a big target for Georgia. Georgia's really after this kid. He will make a decision on July 23rd, and he will decide between Miami, Georgia, Florida, and Ohio State. So those are 3 guys that Georgia's really, really looking at for the 2023 class. So we'll keep you up to date on recruiting. Again, Georgia currently the number 8 recruiting class for 2023, according to 247sports.com. But you got some guys out there pretty hefty in what they can do with that class ranking, about to make their decision. So we'll keep an eye on that for you as well. Well, Pro Football Network. Here's what the guys at Pro Football Network, here's what they did. And these guys, this time of the year when you got 50 something days to kick off, right? You got less than 2 months to kick off. And so they sit around and they say, well, let's study all of this and all of that, and let's try to make a decision as to who's the best in college football in this, that, or the other. Well, Pro Football has ranked all 131 FBS quarterbacks. I don't know who did this, but it may have took them a while using the criteria they use. But Pro Football Network ranked 131, all 131 FBS quarterbacks. And the criteria they used, they watched film. Okay, they watched film, and then they studied injury history, head coach or offensive coordinator changes, roster turnover, general quarterback mechanics all over the field. That was the criteria they used to rank all of these 131 FBS quarterbacks. And I don't know who they ranked number one, but the one we're interested in is Georgia quarterback Stetson Bennett came in 46th overall in the rankings and number 8 in the SEC. So according to Pro Football Network, Stetson Bennett, returning with the University of Georgia after winning the national championship, is the 46th best quarterback in the FBS. That's, the major colleges. And he's number 8 in the SEC. So, not, I guess you could say, according to Pro Football Network, that, Stetson Bennett is maybe above average, but not an excellent quarterback. Of course, he's the quarterback with the team that won the national championship last year. So I don't know. Poor old Stetson Bennett, he gets disrespected every time you turn around. But that's the way it is. For his career, Stetson Bennett has completed 291 of 469 passes. He's passed for 4,301 yards, thrown for 39 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. He's rushed for 325 yards and 4 touchdowns. And of course, by the way, in January of this year, Bennett was named the offensive player of the game in the national championship game against Alabama. He completed 17 of 26 passes for 224 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions. So, Stetson Bennett, according to Pro Football Network, is ranked the 46th best quarterback in all of the FBS. Now, I was on Twitter. I was on the Twitter machine today. Came across this from Aaron Murray, our good friend Aaron Murray. Somebody, who was this? 247 Sports, yes. 247 Sports ranked the top 10 quarterbacks in the SEC. And Stetson Bennett was ranked the 8th best quarterback in the SEC. 8th best. Number 1, Bryce Young. Number 2, KJ Jefferson from Arkansas. Number 3, Hendon Hooker from Tennessee. Number 4, Will Levis from Kentucky. Number 5, Spencer Rattler from South Carolina. Number 6, Will Rogers from Mississippi State. Number 7, Anthony Richardson from Florida. Number 8, Stetson Bennett from Georgia. Number 9, Max Johnson from Texas A&M. Number 10, Jackson Dart from Ole Miss. And so Aaron Murray looked over that, and here's what he said. He said, the amount of disrespect that Stetson Bennett gets is incredible. This kid helped lead his team to a national championship with an inexperienced wide receiver core and an average running game. Here's what Aaron says. I would move Stetson Bennett up to number 4 in the SEC, move KJ Jefferson down to number 5, Will Levis from Kentucky up to number 2. That's what Aaron says. So according to Aaron Murray, he's saying that Stetson Bennett is the 4th best quarterback in the SEC behind Bryce Young, Hendon Hooker, and Will Levis. So there you go. And according to Pro Football Network, they rank Stetson Bennett as the 46th best quarterback in the nation, number 8 in the SEC. So, but Stetson, he's just going to put his head down and he's going to do what he's going to do. I just feel that Stetson Bennett is going to have a great year. Can't wait for that first game coming up with the University of Oregon at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, September the 3rd, Labor Day weekend in Atlanta. Should be great. Phil Steele, he puts out a magazine every year, and everybody runs. If you're interested in college football, you run to the magazine rack. And actually, they still produce magazines. Yeah, a lot of these things are online now. But Phil Steele, he's a guy. He produces his college football, magazine, preview magazine for the coming season. It's a thick thing. He covers all of the conferences and all of the teams. Of course, obviously, he has a staff that helps him. And he made several comments about Georgia. He picks Georgia to make it into the playoffs, and he picks Alabama, I think, to win the national championship. But he does pick Georgia to get into the playoffs, college football playoffs. One of the things he says is Phil still believes that Tennessee is going to be the biggest challenge for Georgia in 2022. Of all of the teams in the SEC East, Phil still says that it's going to be Tennessee that's going to give Georgia the biggest challenge for the coming season. He said their offense was just so explosive last year. They averaged 39.3 points per game. They have 15 returning starters coming back. They're one of the most experienced teams in the SEC. They brought in a couple of really good transfers. Brew McCoy at wide receiver is one of those. Steele said, I think they're a threat because they put points on the board. However, Steele says he has Georgia a 10-point favorite over Tennessee. He also has Alabama a 10-point favorite over Tennessee. Alabama will play at Tennessee this year. Phil Steele says of all of those teams in the SEC East, he thinks Tennessee is going to be the team that will be the biggest challenger for the University of Georgia to win in the SEC East this year. Tennessee has not beaten Georgia since 2016. And boy, do we all remember that one. We try to forget it. That's when Joshua Dobbs threw that last-second Hail Mary touchdown pass that beat Georgia at Sanford Stadium. And so here we go. So Tennessee, according to Phil Steele, is going to be the biggest challenge for the University of Georgia. We shall wait and we shall see. I thought we'd go over the schedule for the University of Georgia quickly, and I'm going to give you my predictions on the scores and the outcomes of these games. These predictions are for right now. 2 weeks from now, they may be different. See? So here we go. Georgia plays Oregon September 3rd, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, 3:30 p.m. on ABC. So, last year I made a prediction. I'm usually terrible at predictions, but I made a prediction for the national championship game. And I was pretty close. I had, Georgia beating Alabama 35-17 or 34. Yeah, it was 34-17, wasn't it? And Georgia, of course, wound up winning 33-18. So I was pretty close. But Georgia takes on Oregon September the 3rd. I have Georgia winning that game 35-21. Is that close? What do you think? 35-21. I think Georgia, I think the game will be tight up until the first half. The defense for Georgia is going to be, feeling itself out. The offense is, going to take a while to crank up. But I think eventually Georgia will beat Oregon 35-21. It's my estimate for today. Anyway, it may change. Who knows? September the 10th, Georgia takes on Samford, not Stanford now, but Samford, the school out of Birmingham, Alabama. That'll be at 4:00 on the SEC network, which is kind of weird. Georgia is the returning national champions. But anyway, I picked Georgia 42-0 in that game. September 17th at South Carolina, a 12 p.m. ESPN game. Now, why isn't that a night game? in prime time on ESPN or ABC, I don't know. Georgia at South Carolina. South Carolina, Spencer Rattler's there now as the quarterback, and South Carolina's got some buzz about them and a buzz around them. And that stadium will be packed and rocking on that night. But I picked Georgia to win that game 34-14. September 24th, Kent State comes to Sanford Stadium. That'll be a 12 o'clock game on ESPN Plus. What that means is you won't be able to see that game on television. You'll have to go online. You have to go on your phone, on the on your computer. It won't be broadcast on any network. Georgia is the returning national champion, But this game, Georgia versus Kent State at Sanford Stadium, is going to be on ESPN Plus. So what that means is your grandparents and your parents are going to be calling you saying, "How can I watch the Bulldogs? Where are they?" And so you'll have to tell them how to connect. I picked Georgia to win that game 49-0. October 1st, Georgia will go to Missouri. And that game to be announced. And I picked Georgia to win 38-12. October 8th, Auburn comes to Sanford Stadium. And I picked Georgia to win 28-7. October 15th, Vanderbilt comes to Sanford Stadium. I picked Georgia to win 48-10. October 29th, Florida and Georgia, 3:30 p.m. It'll be on CBS, of course. I picked Georgia to win 24-10. November 5th versus Tennessee. Georgia plays against Tennessee. That'll be at Sanford Stadium. I picked Georgia to win 34-24. November 12th, Georgia travels to Starkville to take on Mississippi State at Davis Wade Stadium at Scott Field. That'll be an interesting game. Should be a fun game. I picked Georgia to win 37-21. November 19th, Georgia at Kentucky. Georgia travels to Kroger Field at Kentucky. I picked Georgia to win 28-10. November 26th, Georgia versus Georgia Tech at Sanford Stadium. I picked Georgia to win 44-0. Yep. And then that will put Georgia in the SEC championship game against Alabama. I picked Georgia to beat Alabama 28-21. And then beyond that, we'll just have to wait and see. Georgia will be in the playoffs, and I'm going to pick Georgia to win the national championship. What else am I supposed to do? Know what I mean? There's been a lot of talk about expansion. The SEC obviously is going to expand with the coming of Texas and Oklahoma in 2024. Then USC and UCLA made big waves by leaving the Pac-12 to go to the Big Ten. Then there's been a lot of speculation about, the SEC will further expand and bring in some other teams. But a report today says that the preference of the SEC presidents is not to expand beyond 16 teams. Now, right now, the way the SEC presidents are thinking is that 16 teams is a good number for the SEC. And as one source reported that many of the SEC presidents feel that there is no need for the SEC to expand further beyond the 16 teams. When Oklahoma and Texas will come into the conference, the 16 teams. They believe that the SEC is positioned well for the future growth of college football. And so, there's been speculation, that certain teams out of the ACC will come into the SEC, and the speculation Notre Dame may try to come into the SEC and all that kind of stuff. But apparently, according to the SEC presidents, that's not going to happen. Well, the guys over at SEC Sports, the SEC Shorts out of Birmingham, Alabama, they put out some great funny videos. And they put out a video about teams coming to the SEC to make a pitch to come into the conference. It's a hilarious thing. Let's enjoy it together.
All right. Auditions to join the SEC begin now. Let's see what you got. Please watch as I make this historic football program disappear. Oh, we have made the playoffs more than 11 SEC teams, so I guess I can't really argue with you on that one. In summation, SEC and Duke, a winning combination. So a smart school who's bad at football, that job is taken. I've got the pedigree. I've got the prestige. But my question to you is, do you have $100 million I can borrow? Next. Hey, what do you say, boys? We run it back one more time for old time's sake? By the way, y'all haven't bought into that whole forward pass nonsense, have you? It's a slippery slope, I tell you. First thing, you're chucking it through the air like an old Ford Tri-Motor. Next thing you know, you're paying the players 2 bits per game. Okay, that's accurate. You want this. I want this. Let's make it happen. How does it feel? Missouri? What are you doing here? You're already in the SEC. I know. I just like to hear you say it sometimes. It's really sad. So, what do we think? You realize Vanderbilt's still sitting right there.
This episode of SEC Shorts is brought to you by Renaissance Bank, the bank that understands you. Learn more at renaissancebank.com.
So, was the guy with the E on his shirt, is that Elon College? Is that what that I don't know what that is. Anyway, the guys at SEC Shorts from Birmingham, they do a great job of those videos. Or some of them are just so hilarious. By the way, you can go on their site and you can watch a lot of their past ones. Of course, last year the thing is with Hope, the lady who was courting the University of Georgia, or the University of Georgia, the guy representing Georgia was courting Hope, and then finally Hope left when Georgia won the national championship. So we don't look for Elon College or Duke or Cincinnati or any of those guys to come into the SEC anytime soon. Apparently that is not going to happen, but stay tuned. The way college football is these days, then you never know what's going to happen. 247 Sports also put out the top 10 jobs in college football heading into 2022. See, that's what you do this time of the year. You come up with all these top 10s this, top 10s that, whatever. And any directional school. Oh, okay, I got you. Any school, I got you. But you put out these top 10 things, this, that, and the other. But 247 Sports has put out the top 10 jobs in college football heading into 2022. Top 10 jobs. Okay. And according to you, 247sports.com, Oklahoma is the 10th best top job in college football. Head coaching job. This is according to Brad Crawford of 247sports.com. Oklahoma, number 10. Clemson, number 9, the 9th best job in college football, the head coach at the University of Clemson. Number 8, Notre Dame. Number 7, Texas A&M. Number 6, USC. Number 5, Texas. Number 4, LSU. Number 3, Ohio State. And the second best job in college football, according to 247 Sports, is the University of Georgia, the second best job in college football going into the 2022 season. The University of Georgia, number 1, I give you one guess. The University of Alabama, the best job in college football. And it doesn't look like Nick Saban is going anywhere anytime soon. He is entrenched, as they say, and he will be at Alabama for as long as he wants to. What is he, 71, 2, 3, something like that. So, all right. Well, that's our little report tonight. Good to have you along with us tonight here on UGA Football News on Facebook and Instagram. Hey, join us every now and then. We try to get in here once a week to talk about the latest stuff going on with the University of Georgia. Join us again next time. Until next time, our closing words, as always.